This one is, kind of had to go through that presentation before looking at this activity. I'm not gonna, try not to take as much of your time with this. This is one they like the least because I made them do some actual work instead of just talking and thinking and sharing. So I had to look up these protocols, give a brief description of each one, what they did, what kind of applications use them. So they could just say, well, POP3 means post office protocol. Okay, they can't just say IP is internet protocol. They had to say what it was, what applications use it. Excuse me.
You have them research it or just what
Yes.
their thoughts are? Okay.
No, I made them research it, come up with correct answers. And of course, you could do that same thing. What do you think they are now?
Then
And
look it up.
Then look it up.
Smart.
You could do both. And so I might add that to next year. Then we talk about stacking these protocols together and that they don't work alone, that they rely on other protocols to work. So like TCP and IP work together to deliver to you your web pages, which are HTTP. And so if TCP doesn't work, then your web page is not going to work. If IP is not working, then your web page isn't going to work. So it's a combination of protocols working together. So here's a different picture. I think we made this one 2 summers ago, Jill. Is this the one we made? 2 summers ago, and just again talked about how do you connect to the internet. And then I gave them those devices, and I had them tell me if they were LAN devices, WAN devices, or devices that the ISP might use. So again, they're working this as groups. Then I didn't like the one that I had before, so I just made this summer. Kind of a hierarchy of the internet. And in the middle here, we have Verizon and Sprint and AT&T and NTT and all kinds of cable systems. They seem to get smaller and smaller, the numbers of different companies in there because they're consolidating. And so, to stress this idea of the hierarchy of the internet, which I think is one of our LOs, is the hierarchy of the internet. If it's not, I guess don't do this, so I think it is one. I do think it's. Pardon?
Hierarchy is a vocabulary word.
So I think it's something that they're supposed to go over. So I make them use these 2 websites, and the first one is IP location. I guess I'm gonna faster this way. And I found out, Jeff, that this is blocked in Huntsville City Schools now.
Yeah.
But it wasn't when I taught the lesson. So that's why I went to that DNS query page. So here it is again. It's telling me IP addresses, and it's telling me kind of the same things the other website did. You know, where are they located? I'm currently in the University of Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you can put in IP addresses up here and query. So it's kind of opposite of what we did before, where we had names to numbers. This is numbers to giving you more information about that. So you probably could use that DNS query. So what they're trying to do is find their sites, and I didn't care what site they picked, but the idea behind this part of the activity is that they map out the actual hierarchical steps that they go through to get to some site. So who is your ISP? Who is your second level ISP? What's the IP address of that router? What's the IP address of the the router on the other end? Who is where you're going to? What is their? Who is their IP? So the whole, and they can do that with these two sites. Probably a third of them got it. The other ones didn't understand what I was even asking. And so I had to re-explain it. But using this is a visual trace route. You can type in the IP of whoever. I'm going to use Google again. And hopefully it's not all blocked. But we can see that we're using US West. And I don't know who this is at the other end.
Where's US West?
Up at the top.
Oh, okay.
So if they took these ISPs, they could then put that in that DNS query and find out more information about them. So if I want to know who has 100, 64, 28, I can copy that. I guess I closed the other one. What did I do? Now I did it.
You just paste that in the who is query.
Yeah, take that and put it in the who is query. And it should tell me information about that.
Los Angeles, Ion.
I guess this one didn't.
Is that right?
Oh, here. Well,
Let's see what
I don't know what's going on here. So I have some kind of error right now. So anyway, not working right now. But you should be able to take those numbers from the trace route and find out who they are, where they are, and build the actual hierarchy.
Can you explain what this means?
Well, you're looking for who it is,
All right, that's that.
who owns it.
Is it Ion?
Yeah. No, that's the organization that hands out
Oh, is that?
IP addresses.
Oh, yeah, 'cause it's-
What about this one?
What's it? It would be right at the very top.
So
You put that in, and so it's just that's probably just an internet router. That's what I would say. So it doesn't tell me who the owner of that router is. So you might have to go to another one. But they can map it out. I had about a third of them really on their own be able to do that activity. And then I had them share how they did it with the other ones. And so by the end, they all can do that. So then I have them watch, and instead of doing this as a group again, I have them do it individually. They all get to have their own headphones on, watch those movies there and back again, and Warriors of the Net. I don't know if you've seen those. Do I need to show those?
Oh, well, just show them the beginning so that they see how, it's a whole 15-minute thing. So I don't know that you want to show them the whole thing.
Well, there and back is pretty short.
Yeah, but the Warriors of the Net, but the Warriors of the Net is very, very good. It has a whole lot of vocabulary
Yeah,
words
unless they're
in use.
using Amazon to route there. Does Amazon route traffic?
Yes, Amazon is an ISP.
Is that right?
Yes, they're a very big one.
I guess they,
Look at the
so
map.
they watch what you're querying possibly? Or
Abs.
searching for?
Oops.
That's something I do every day.
Well, it's the one after, it's all Amazon network.
Have you ever wondered what happens when someone in England visits the World Science Festival's webpage? First, their computer needs to ask the World Science Festival server for a copy of that webpage. The computer sticks this request into a virtual envelope called a packet, wrapped with specific information about that request, including the World Science Festival's IP address.
What's that?
The computer sends this packet out of the house and below the street via large underground copper wires. It passes through small regional networks before ending up here at Telehouse North in London. Telehouse North is England's main internet hub. The IP address on this packet tells the hub that the World Science Festival server is actually in Los Angeles. So Telehouse North sends the packet out as light across the Atlantic, over fiber optic cables buried deep beneath the ocean. The packet ends up here, 60 Hudson Street, New York City, the largest internet hub on the East Coast. This hub sends the packet through a series of regional networks connecting New York to Los Angeles, where the World Science Festival server resides. The server reads the request and gets ready to send the web page to England.
Okay, this is why I like this one, because it explains this piece much better than
But web pages made up of images and text are too large to send as a single packet of data. So how do we get it back to England? Imagine a group of 5,000 tourists visiting New York City in a single gigantic tour bus. They are way up in Harlem, but they want to visit the Statue of Liberty before it closes. But it's rush hour on a Friday. There's no way that giant bus is going to fit through those crazy congested streets. So they decide to get off the bus and spread out. Some take the subway, some take cabs, a few rent bikes, and some even take kayaks down the Hudson River. How they get there doesn't matter, as long as they get there on time. Likewise, for the internet to work efficiently, this web page is pulverized into thousands of tiny packets of data, each one wrapped with all...
that's probably enough.
I wrote,
So that's why I like that part, because it really visualizes and puts it to kind of, 5,000 people on one bus, and how are they all going to get to the same place?
well, I did a sniffer test with my first time with like at 92, and we were just sending a message from across the fence from an industrial park to the military base. I was just testing how this window would go, communication, and I captured so much data
Oh, yeah.
that I couldn't run my program to analyze it. I had to buy a whole new hard
Oh.
drive and everything.
Yes, that's true.
But it showed that I didn't go from there to there.
Right.
It wasn't A to B. It was A to D to F to G to then to B.
Right.
Even
Even though they might have only been across the street.
I'm just across the fence.
So this is Warriors of the Net. They kind of like the music and
It's called what?
Warriors of the
Warriors of the Net. Warriors of the .net is the actual website. Some of the kids said this was scary. They don't want to see it again. It was too scary. So it goes through.
Together.
It's on the
This
website.
is the dawn of the net.
Now this is at least
Wanna
12
know
years
how it
old. I've
works?
been using it for 12
Click here
years.
to begin your journey into the net. Now, exactly what happened when you clicked on that link? You started a flow of information. This information
This is a good piece that shows it's coming down as binary numbers. They're, whatever the person typed, it's coming down as binary numbers.
travels down into your own personal mailroom, where Mr. IP packages it, labels it, and sends it on its way. Each packet is limited in its size. The mailroom must decide how to divide the information and how to package it. Now, the package needs a label containing important information,
So
such
this
as
one talks
sender's
about that
address,
encapsulation
receiver's
process,
address,
putting labels
and the
on
type
it,
of packet it
labeling
is.
it, so it'll get where it's supposed to go. The other one doesn't really talk about that.
Jim, is there a good page on
Because this particular packet is going out onto the internet,
not that I've-
it also gets an address for the
I've never
proxy
seen it.
server, which has a special function, as we'll see later.
So anyway, that's the Warriors of the Net. It's a long one,
13 minutes.
13 minutes. So we don't
So,
want to do
may I
that.
add here?
Yes.
What I made my class do is we watched together as a class, and then I had each of the students put on their headphones and watch this and collect vocabulary words and write definitions for it. And I plan to assess them on it.
You watch that class and then watch the second time?
Had them watch it
Second
themselves.
By
And at
themselves.
this time, we had a shared Google spreadsheet where everybody has put their vocabulary words and their meanings.
Which is what I do on the second or on the question here with
Yeah,
it.
what,
So come up with
Sorry,
vocabulary.
Jim, I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay.
You had it, I'm
But that
so
means
sorry.
good minds are thinking alike, right?
So sorry, I didn't mean to.
But I also try to get them, based on the two movies, kind of in their mind, merge those two movies together and explain in their own words how data gets from one device to another. This would, and I didn't do it this year, and I'm the one who said, "Oh, you should play that game of the router game," but I didn't play it this year. We were behind. They want to take another day just to play the router game, so we skipped that. But this would be where you would throw in the router game too, to have them act that out.
Is that the one with the packets?
That's the one you did this summer,
Yeah,
right?
that's the one.
Where you passed the packets.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Do you ever give them back that original drawing they made on day one of how the internet works? Because by the end of this, they should be able to do a way better drawing.
Oh,
Because
yes.
you've shown them lots of good ones.
Yes.
I just don't know if it's worth the time. But you could.
You could.
I didn't know if you'd ever.
I don't. I didn't. Not this year. Maybe I will next year.
I don't know.